coming to you live, and it's your boy Icon with a wrestling review for you. We got to talk about Saturday night's main event because this is actually very endearing to me because, believe it or not, when I was a kid, I actually used to watch Saturday night's main event when it would come on live. I even remember the old MSG shows when they would have shows in the garden, and then the MSG network would post those wrestling shows later. So, well, Saturday night's main event always meant something to me. It's good to have Gorilla Monsoon back. I forgot that the show was in the Nassau Coliseum because I live in New York. I live in Queens, New York, and I would have got tickets had I remembered. I completely forgot, but it was still nice to see. And for the love of God, the Long Island crowd hates baby faces for some reason. Like the Long Island crowd, they were rooting for the heels a lot, like, like during the show. And, and it was funny because since how the arena was put together, the runway was very small. It was very tight. So it was almost like a heavyweight boxing match where each participant would come down to ringside and the crowd would be able to like have their hands out and everything. And I give it up to the heels because they were not having it. Like with the whole thing with, it's one thing for the fans to try to like stick their hand out so you can give them a high five, but the fans were like touching them. Like if you go back and watch, certain fans were like touching them, putting their hands on their shoulder. A couple of people pushed certain people, and obviously the baby faces, like they were into it, like they were slapping high five. The heels were like, when Gunther came out, Gunther had his hands like, he was like, don't touch me. He's like, even Chelsea Gray, she was just like, oh, like these disgusting people, and they still cheered but then it's like they cheered for these people, which was crazy. But anyway, so like I said, before we get started, as always, hit that notification bell, like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and let's talk about the wrestling. So Jesse the Body Ventura was back. It was nice to see him. And again, I remember him when he used to do the show with Vince McMahon and Gorilla Monsoon. He played the role of the heel, play-by-play guy, which I like to see. And the opening match started with Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn. And I forgot that Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn was even on the card. They only had 5 matches on the card. It felt like a main roster NXT pay-per-view. And and I'm okay with that because they're going to bring back Saturday night's main event in January. They're going to have it in Texas. So if they do this like, every month, that'd actually be pretty cool. None of the matches were long because when I was a kid, the show was only like an hour long. So, like the matches weren't that long. So they gave us the 5 matches, commercials in between and everything. But it was Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn. And this was the beef because Drew McIntyre, he's basically going around whooping everybody ass that helped Roman Reigns and teamed with CM Punk and had anything to do with the bloodline. And I find that funny because if Drew McIntyre is on a rampage to the point where he's beating up everybody who teamed with CM Punk and who's trying to help the bloodline, I promise you he doesn't have the balls to go after Roman. Because he kicked out, he claymored both the Usos, he claymored Sami Zayn. He can't go after Punk anymore because they both agreed that after Hell in the Cell they wouldn't touch each other anymore. I promise you he ain't going after Roman Reigns. And Michael Cole brought up the one piece of knowledgeable information he's ever brought up before, where he said that if anything, he should be mad at Solo Sikoa because Solo was the person who actually cost him the world title when he had his match with Roman. The two of them are having their match. Like I said, it was good. Drew McIntyre still looks good. He hasn't lost a step. Like, he still kept everything up and everything going into shape. And he hit him with a slick move. Like, it was a move where he ran outside, Sami Zayn ran outside, Drew McIntyre ran back inside, and then when Sami tried to run back inside, bam, Claymore to the face. And I believe that's what he did to Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. Like, that's how he beat Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. But Drew McIntyre got the 1-2-3 victory, and he beat Sami Zayn. And then that's when they mentioned on commentary, because Pat McAfee, he came back to do commentary for Saturday night's main event. They mentioned on commentary that Sami Zayn has actually never beaten Drew McIntyre. And I was like, really? Maybe that'll be the WrestleMania match between Drew McIntyre, where Sami finally defeats Drew McIntyre. That's actually crazy that Sami's never beat him. But, but that was it. Drew McIntyre did an interview backstage where he said, like he's on a rampage and he's coming for that ass and he's trying to cut out the cancer. And I don't know where Sami goes from here, but he looks like a chump. And the Mac is back in WWE. The second match was the Women's World Heavyweight Championship match. Liv Morgan versus Io Sky. Damage control was in full effect. Judgment Day was in full effect, but everybody had to stay behind. The two of them had a straight up one-on-one, where they went blow for blow. And kudos to like Liv Morgan, because Liv Morgan actually came to play in this match. Like, for her not to be able to cheat to win, she fought Io Sky straight up. And she took a lot of physical punishment from Io Sky. Especially, I mean, there was this one thing where we didn't see like 7 people now slip off this top rope. Like WWE needs to do something about the ropes. Oh, that was cool too. They brought back the red, white, and blue ropes, and they brought back the old school logo. But something needs to be done about these ropes because too many people slipping and busting their ass off these ropes. But you know, there was a moment where like Io had gave Liv Morgan like a knee to the face, and like she really hit her to the point where like I thought it was like a concussion. And then after Liv, you know, had hit the Oblivion and got the 1, 2, 3, and then the referee raised her hand, you saw that her nose was bleeding and everything. So I'm like, yeah, she. And then they did the replay. They replayed the move, and I'm like, yeah, she got waffled with that knee. But you don't really see, especially now that she's a heel, you don't see physical brawling. Like you don't see physical Liv Morgan matches. Like it's always like the cowardly heel thing. So it was nice to actually see her go in there toe to toe so she can prove to people that, yes, I actually do know how to wrestle. Like I do know how to do this. So I said, but she got the victory, you know, like everybody reigns supreme. And when she was standing in the aisleway, when she was raising the belt up, Rhea Ripley's music played. Rhea Ripley came out, and then Rhea Ripley came out to basically like, you know, confront her. They didn't fight or brawl or anything. And I thought, and I knew they weren't going to fight because as soon as Rhea's music played, Raquel kind of like walked away. And you thought if she's supposed to be Liv's bodyguard, she would have stepped in front of Liv to protect her from Rhea Ripley. But once Raquel walked away, I said, oh, the two of them aren't going to fight. She's probably just going to talk trash. And that's what happened. Like I said, she didn't even talk. Like they just looked at each other. So I guess the next program now, maybe at the Royal Rumble, it's going to be Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan. The next contest was the triple threat world heavyweight title match. Finn Balor versus Damian Priest versus Herr Gunther. I mean, and it's like we knew Gunther was going to win this shit. And he was. Priest did look good. I mean, Balor was just there. Gunther gave Priest a power bomb onto the steps, and then he hit, you know, Finn Balor with his own running drop kick that he also does, and then hit him with a power bomb 1, 2, 3. And now that he's beaten them, like this is like the 7th time he's beaten Damian Priest. And my whole thing now is, if they're doing the whole thing where Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, where all 3 brands are going to be doing trades and they're going to be allowed to switch participants and, you know, potentially, you know, switch people around, Damian Priest at this point just needs to go to SmackDown because it's like you can't fight Gunther anymore. Like, you know, like Rhea Ripley has one more match, and then if Rhea Ripley does not beat Liv Morgan in this next match, I don't want to see Rhea like fighting Liv Morgan again. Like it's time for somebody else, and that's where we're at with Damian Priest. It's like, bro, like you ain't got it. Like take your shot, you know, take your shot at SmackDown, you know, with Cody Rhodes, unless he gets sent to Monday Night Raw as well. But I said, but and I said, it was a good match. It was just like, you know, you knew Gunther was going to win, but the only thing coming out of it, I mean, obviously now, who's going to be Gunther's next challenger? But I also want to see if Priest does get traded, because we already saw Braun Strowman got traded to SmackDown. So hopefully Priest will go over there too, and then he can get like a fresh start with everything. Now, this match was the match that I was looking forward to the most. Mia Yim, Michin versus Chelsea Green. And my money was on Michin. I think I even said that in my last wrestling review. But the thing about it is, I don't have an issue with Chelsea Green either. Because the thing is, if Chelsea Green wins the United States Women's Championship, her reign will be very entertaining. Her backstage segments will be entertaining. She's going to be a cowardly heel that cheats to win, and she runs from all of her opponents and probably uses Piper Niven to do all of her dirty work. Fine. If Michin wins the United States Women's Championship, her entertainment value will come from wrestling. Like she'll put on good matches, she'll brawl with people. Like we're not going to get like great backstage segments from Michin, but we're going to get good in-ring stuff. So you like for different reasons, you can go either way with it. But I was, and then the two of them actually had a very good match because when the match started, they went at it, you know, like full force. Chelsea Green wore gear inspired by her real life boyfriend or husband. I don't know if they're married or not. Her real life partner, Zack Ryder, you know, Matt Cardona. She even wore like his old pants where he had like one pants leg and then the other one didn't have the pants leg. So she did the Rough Rider like a couple of times. And the fans obviously know that the two of them are together. They know that she was dressed inspired of her boyfriend, and they know that Zack Ryder, Matt Cardona, is from Long Island. So unfortunately, the fans were actually rooting for Chelsea Green against Michin. And I didn't like that because I was like, Michin deserved to win that belt. But after pulling off one hell of an unprettier, you know, Chelsea Green got the 1, 2, 3 victory, and she became your inaugural United States Women's Champion. Now, here's the problem that I had with that whole thing. So up until this point, every time we had a match with somebody when the person had an entourage of people. When Io Sky came out, Damage Control showed up and went to the back. When Liv Morgan came out, Judgment Day showed up and then they went to the back. When Finn Balor had his match, The Judgment Day came out, they two-sweeted him, and they went to the back. So if no one was allowed to have people at ringside, and if every match was like a straight-up one-on-one between two participants, why is it that when Michin gets to fight Chelsea Green, why does Piper Niven get to stay her ass at ringside the entire time? Because she cheated the entire time, and she cheated to help her win. And I'm just like, so yeah, I had doing my girl Michin dirty, and I don't like it. Although there's no good explanation as to why Chelsea, of all people, is allowed to have someone at ringside, the chase is now on, because now that Chelsea Green is the champion, it's not, it's like for the people that were rooting for Michin, our fandom has shifted from we want her to be the first champion to now we want her to be the next champion. So hopefully the chase doesn't, and she did a backstage interview too where she said she said when she sees Chelsea Green, it's on site, and she coming for that ass. So I'm definitely happy to hear that. And I hope she gets her WrestleMania moment. Let Chelsea Green hold on to that belt all the way up until WrestleMania, and let Michin take that belt from her at WrestleMania, and she can get crowned on the big stage instead of Saturday night's main event. I'll be perfectly okay with that, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. So we'll see what happens, because Chelsea Green's gonna have some elaborate celebration and some crazy shit. But congratulations to both women for becoming, the first mid-card women's champion, and now that a heel has won the United States Women's Champion, I guarantee you a babyface is probably going to win the Women's Intercontinental Championship, and my money's on Lyra Valkyria. And then our final match was for the the WWE Heavyweight Championship, Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens, and Jesse the Body was on commentary for this one, and he made a cool statement because they were talking about how nice his clothes look and how they liked his jacket. He said, because he was like, oh, that snakeskin jacket looks dope, and then he said, thank you, I made it out of Damien. And Michael Cole and Pat McAfee didn't get it. they didn't get it. He said that, and then he had to elaborate by saying he took Jake the Snake Roberts' snake from him, which was named Damon, and he made a coat out of it. Now although that was a cool line for him to say because Cole and Pat didn't get the reference, that's not actually what happened, because if you remember, unfortunately, I do remember this. Damien was killed, crushed, destroyed by Earthquake, because when Jake the Snake had beef with Earthquake, they did a thing where when Earthquake would do the Earthquake splash, he did it like 2 or 3 times to Damien while Damien was in the bag that Jake used to carry for him. And then when Earthquake and Jake had their final match, Jake came out with his new snake, which was called Lucifer. I give Jesse credit for that, although Michael Cole and Pat blew it. So Cody came out with the old school winged eagle belt. The belt looks dope. I don't remember it was a lot bigger when I was a child. When he came out with it, I was like, yo, this shit is mad small. Triple H gave it to him prior, and he was like, you get one chance. He said, one time, which is his way of saying, stop asking me about this damn belt. So he got his wish. For one night only, he got to bring out the Wing Eagle Championship. Kevin Owens came out. They targeted the knee that he hurt, the ankle that he had injured when he wrestled Chad Gable. And then the two of them were going back and forth. There were a lot of shenanigans with the referee. Jesse was a heel commentator the whole time, and that shit was funny. And to the end, Kevin Owens they knocked out 2 referees. Kevin Owens introduced a chair into the ring. It backfired on him. And then Cody Rhodes hit him with the crossroads onto the chair, which Jesse pointed out. He said that was a good tag team victory by Cody with him in the chair. I thought that was funny. And then Cody Rhodes retains the championship to the surprise of no one. What was interesting about this was when the match was over, Kevin Owens attacked Cody from behind, because this happened like off air. It didn't happen on NBC. You got to catch this online. He attacked Cody off air, and he gave him another pile driver, and then Cody had to get stretchered out because he had hurt his neck. When Kevin was walking to the back, Triple H came out and confronted him, and Triple H pushed Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens pushed him back. And I'm like, doesn't Triple H have a pacemaker or something? Why are you touching people? But to see Triple H get in Kevin Owens' face and touch him when we all know he's not supposed to be touching people was pretty cool. So they're doing a very good job of keeping this interesting and heating this feud up. But it's very disappointing because although they're making the feud really hot, we know for a fact Kevin Owens isn't going to defeat Cody Rhodes for the title. And then where does Randy Orton play into all this? Because his name got mentioned, a bunch of times. But that was how it ended. It basically ended with, Cody being stretchered out. And that's with Triple H confronting Kevin Owens. So we'll see what happens if there's any repercussions that, that take place about that. That was how Saturday night's main event ended. And thank you for tuning in. So like I said, it was a good show. And for the purpose of having basically a television pay-per-view and us getting maybe 5 matches and rotating the participants, I'm down for it. I don't know if I want to see it every single month. I mean, I'm not going to complain if we do. I don't think it's needed every single month, if I'm being honest. But like I said, if we get it like, 4 or 5 times, like a year, like that'd be cool. Like I said, I'm down with Saturday Night's Main Event, and I'm glad I can share it with all of you. So like I said, check me out on Instagram, on X, on TikTok, and YouTube, where you can leave your questions, comments, and concerns. What did you think about Saturday Night's Main Event? What did you think about the matches and how the matches turned out? Was it predictable, or did you think some changes were going to happen? Share your questions, and we will continue to talk about it. So again, check out my other reviews, because right now the only thing we're doing besides the wrestling, we're doing that Creature Commandos for all you DC people, as we wait for Peacemaker and we wait for Marvel's What If. So that was it, guys. So thanks for tuning in. So until next time for some more wrestling action for the WWE, because the Netflix is coming soon. And until then, next time, we're out this